Good afternoon, everybody. It's John for Father's Rights and my anti-human trafficking YouTube channel. It's 12:36 p.m., February 1st, 2025. I'm now going to do a small series on hereditary neglect. And I actually realized something. I actually talked about my daughter's neglect and my family letting one of the children, let's say my spouse's family, actually giving their child to somebody who was much older than the child. The child was 14, the man was 29 at the time, and he impregnated her. They didn't call the police. So that child they married the child off at 15 to the man when he was 31. And he removed her from the home out of state to do as he wished to do to her. That's sexual exploitation. It's now a federal crime since she moved to state. Anybody involved in that who knew about it, didn't care to do anything about it, let the child be sexually abused and victimized. If you're an adult and you knew about that and didn't call it in, you belong in prison. So on the hereditary abuse side, it actually goes much deeper. Because this is to my daughter. I want you to listen to this part here where they tell you that I'm lying. Your aunt, Jocelyn Polistron, who died January 20th, 2000, she was born December 31st, 1980. When I met Jocelyn, I really liked her a lot. We used to play video games together. And then one day she called me over the house. Mom told me to go over the house. Jocelyn wants to speak to me. For the life of me, I didn't know why. This is about 3 months prior to Jocelyn leaving this earth. Jocelyn told me point blank that, when I was sitting on the bed talking to her, because she asked for me to come there, and she said, "Look, my mother doesn't love me." Alright? That's what she told me. And then she turned around and says, "All they do is fight." Now, when you get a child with the Wilms tumor that's on dialysis, you shouldn't be doing that. And it vaguely points out to who is responsible getting her to dialysis that led to her death. Jocelyn died of a brain aneurysm. But when I got mad and upset about this, Jocelyn had just given up on life because of the arguing that was going on in the house. And she told me her mother thought she was just a burden to her mother. My mother doesn't love me. Those are her words. And I can't give her what she wants, so I'm useless to her. She wants grandchildren. I can't give her any grandchildren. Clarissa could do that, so I don't see why I should continue living. That's what she told me. So in turn, I told her, this was before my daughter was born, "You can move in with us. I'll take care of you. I'll carry you up to dialysis on my back if I have to." And I would have carried her on my back. I'm one stubborn person. I get dedicated to something. I give 110%. You can ask all the guys that I'm striking with right now. No rock is left unturned. This is a picture of Jocelyn. Okay? She was a very good, lovable young lady. I always had hopes that she'd be here with me now. She was very logical. I think she was the most logical person in her family. And I think that's why she reached out to me when she was having a problem. Now, I got upset because I know they weren't taking her to dialysis, and it wasn't the father's fault, because a lot of the times he was just working 12 to 16 hours a day, and he just couldn't do it. He was exhausted. And during that talk with Jocelyn, those were one of the moments where I watched. When he came home, he was very pleasant to me. He goes, "John, I had an emergency. I had to fix the boiler in the building, because if we don't fix it when it's cold out in 24 hours, we get a huge fine. And if my boss gets a huge fine, obviously what's going to happen to him. He's going to get fired. So he worked for 16 hours straight. He's not a perfect man, but that day he worked 16 hours straight. He couldn't keep his eyes open. He said he wanted to talk to me, but he was too tired to talk to anybody. He wants to get some much-needed rest. Well, he didn't get that. What he got was Aurelia running in the room. You need to take us to this. You need to take us to the appointments. He goes, please, I'll give you money for a cab. I'm tired. I can't see. This is the exact words. He goes, my eyes, I'm so tired I can't see. He's not a young guy. And he goes, if I drive, I'll fall asleep behind the wheel and we'll have a catastrophe here. We'll hurt ourselves and a lot of people. Kill people possibly. You fall asleep behind the wheel. So he goes, please, get it to dialysis and let me get my much needed rest. No, she couldn't. You're going to do what I want or you're abusing me. So then I knew the reason why Jocelyn was telling me the truth. Now, I found out that Jocelyn died from an aneurysm. But what the dopes don't realize, when you got Wilms tumor or PKD, and you don't go to your dialysis, you're already at risk prior to the dialysis of having an intracranial hemorrhage. So if you don't go to dialysis and you miss it a few times and you stop taking your medications and nobody's watching or taking care of you, that's exactly what happened. She died of an intracranial hemorrhage from being neglected. Now, on the dialysis, I used to volunteer and take people, veterans, from wherever they lived, the Veterans Hostel, wherever, didn't matter. I would go to Brooklyn, in the worst section of Brooklyn, with my nice Cadillac, and pick up veterans and bring them to their dialysis appointment. The reason why I did that, when they got on Accessoride, some of those veterans used to be on that Accessoride bus for 8 hours. If you miss your dialysis, it's the same everywhere. Another person who's scheduled to be there will take your slot, and you're going to have to make another appointment for dialysis. Keep doing that, because mom doesn't want to get off the couch, and you'll get the same results that Jocelyn got. So to sit there and say, oh, she died of something not related to dialysis, an intracranial hemorrhage, it has everything to do with missing dialysis. And this, to my daughter, is a lesson to learn. That you got to watch your own back, because nobody over there is watching it for you. If there's somebody in the family, a young girl that gets raped, and the rest of the family stands there with their hands in their pocket, that family is no good. And on that, I'm out of here.